Now the switch case statement. Using the switch case statement, we can also check any kind of conditions. But how? The syntax is given in this portion. You can see first you have to write the switch, and then within the bracket you can write either value. You can put the value here directly, or you can write down the variable name in which variable actually the value is being stored and which is going to check. So either you can write the direct value or the variable name. And then after opening brace, you have write the case and then giving the space and then the value 1 and then giving the colon, and then after giving the colon we have write the statement 1 and then the break, and then the case space value 2 and colon and statement 2 and break, case 3 value 3 statement 3 and break, and so on. How many cases we needed as per the program provided to us. And at the last we have write the default statement, that is default colon default statement, and then after you have to complete this switch case with the giving the closing braces. Now I have just write the value or variable name here. Now if the value or the value which is stored in the variable is matched with the value 1, value 1 may be a character or a number. So if the value 1 is matched with the value or the value held by the variable, then statement 1 is going to execute. If it is not equal to the value 1, then it is going to check with the value 2, and if the value 2 is matched, then the statement 2 is execute, and then after value 3, if the case value 2 in this case is the value is not matched, that means it is not equal to value 2, then the is going to control goes to the going to check the next case, that is value 3, and if the value 3 is equal to the value provided in this portion, that is going to check portion, and then the statement 3 will going to execute. You can see the in each and every case statement, there is, after writing the statement block, you have to write the break keyword mandatorily. So if case block, you have to write the break keyword after the writing the all statement in this case block, and when the all case are not matched, then the control automatically goes to the default case. Okay, yeah, so in this case you have to write only the default, not the case keyword is used here, the default keyword is used, and it means if the all case are not matched, then this default is going to execute, and so the statement written is in default block statement is going to execute. And you can also remember that in default case we have never used the break keyword. So in every case I have already written here the break keyword, but in case of the default case you need not or never write the break keyword. Okay, now in case of the switch case statement, the default case is not mandatory. It means you can write the default case or you can omit the default case. Without using the default case, you can write the switch case statement. So default statement is not mandatory for writing the switch case statement, but it is better to use the default case statement to write the program. Now by using the if statement, all types of if statement and switch case statement, we can check several conditions and we can control the flow of a program. But what are the basic difference between the if statement and with the switch case statement? The basic difference is that in case of the if statement, you can remember that in syntax portion I have always written the condition word within the bracket of the if, but in this case I am not written condition word. I am written here the value 1, value 2 like this. So in if statement we can write the conditions, several types of conditions, maybe one condition, maybe two conditions are or maybe more than two conditions are exist within this if condition portion. But in case of switch case statement, we never mention any kind of condition here. We can only mention the value. So no conditions. Suppose condition like this, A greater than B. So this is a condition. You can use this type of condition in case of the all types of ifs, but in case of switch case statement, we cannot use this kind of conditions or any kind of conditions in this value 1 or value 2 or value 3 any portions. Okay, you have to write the direct value. Suppose case I have write the A, case A or case 1. Okay, in case of if statement we can write the multiple conditions using the logical AND or logical OR operator, but in case of the switch case statement we cannot use any kind of logical operator in this portion, in this value block value portions. We can only write the direct value. Now in case of switch case, if the value is integer type, then you have to write the value directly, but if the value is character type, then you have to write the value within the single inverted comma. Suppose the value is 1, that is integer type, then you have to write case 1 in this way. But if the value is A, so you have to write case within single inverted comma A. So whenever you are going to check the character in using the switch case statement, you have to write the single inverted comma. In case of switch case statement, you can check the character value, but you cannot check the string data type value. So we can write here only a single character, but we cannot write here what. Suppose we cannot write case apple, case orange like this. We can only use case A, case O like this. Okay, so these are the basic difference between the switch case and the if block. Except the simple if statement, in all the other kind of if statement like compound if, complex if, nested if, there is a else block, and this else block is mandatory. You cannot omit or you cannot remove this else block as per your choice. But in case of switch case statement, we may use the default case statement or we may not use the default case statement. So this default case statement in case of switch case statement is optional, but in case of the if statement, the else block is not optional, it is mandatory. So these are the basic difference between the switch case statement with the if statement. Now I am going to check whether a value entered by the user is belongs from 1 to 9. If the user enter a value from 1 to 4, in between 1 to 4, it shows in what? So the value entered by the user is basically stored in the variable n. Now I am going to check this whether the value entered by the user in between the 1 to 4, and if it is between 1 to 4, it shows in words by using the switch case statement. So in the first line I have written a switch and within the bracket the variable name as per the syntax, and then after writing the case 1, and then I am writing system.out.println 1, and then after break and case 2 system.out.2 system.out.3 in case of the case 3, and in case of the case 4 I have written here case system.out.println 4. But you can see in every case I have just written the break keyword. So as I already mentioned that you have to use the break keyword in each and every case in the switch case statement. and in the default block I've just written here that it is out of the value is greater than 4, or you can show any kind of messages here. So if the value is matched with the value of case 1, then this statement is execute. If the value entered by the user which is stored in the variable n and n is equal to 2, then this statement will going to execute. So let's see what's happened. Now I'm going to compile this program and no syntax error shown here, and now I'm going to run this program. Just enter the value 3 suppose, and you can see the output is 3. Okay, so how it is work? The value of n is stored in the variable value of 3 is basically stored in the variable n, and now n check whether the n is equal to 3 or not. So case 1 is mismatched, so this portion is not executed, and as the case 1 is not matched, so the control instantly transferred to case 2, and then again check the case 2, and as the value is not matched here, and then transfer controls to the case 3 as the value matched with 3, because value entered by the user is 3. So this case is matched here perfectly, and this statement is executed. Okay, suppose if I'm just run the program again and I'm just enter value 5, so there is no case available in the program because maximum 4 cases are there. So if I'm just enter the value 5, it shows it is greater than 4. Now see how it is work. So the case 1 is not matched, case 2 is not matched, case 3 is not matched, and case 4 also not matched. So automatically it goes to the default block statement, and you can see in the default block statement it is already written here that it is greater than 4. So when I just enter the value 5, so default block statement is executed. So in this way actually switch case statement work. But you can see very cautiously that in the default case statement I'm not using any kind of break keyword. So you have to remember that you never use break keyword in the default case statement. But in case in each and every case you have to use the break keyword. Now the basic difference between the if and the switch case statement is that I have already mentioned that the condition which is written here, it is not the condition, rather a value. So the value is n is going to compare whether the value of n is equal to this value which is written here. Okay, if it is matched, then this statement is execute. But any kind of condition like n greater than 1 or n greater than 10, like such kind of condition cannot be written in this value portion. We cannot use the logical operator in this case block. We can only equate the value which are equals to the value entered or the variable. So in the case block we cannot use any kind of condition or any kind of logical operator. You have already known the default case is an optional case for the switch case statement, so it is not mandatory. But in case of the if statement, the else block is mandatory. So if I just omitting this default case statement, so I'm just delete this portion. Okay, you can see I have already deleted it. Now I'm just going to compile it. No syntax error shown here, and then after I'm going to run the program, and you can see if I've just entered 2, it is easily the result is generated 2. But if I'm just enter the another value, suppose 7, then it cannot show nothing. It unable to show anything. Why? Because I have already deleted the default block. As in the earlier portion I have just mentioned the default block. So if I just enter the 7, the default block will execute, but now the default block is absent. So whenever the value entered which is greater than the 4 is not shown any kind of messages. But you can see without using the default block or default case, we can write the switch case statement in case of programming of Java. So default block statement is not mandatory in case of the switch case statement, but it is better to use the default case statement, because if any kind of case is not going to check or matched, the exact word is matched, not checked, it is not actually matched, then if such kind of any message actually shown, then it is easy to understand by the user what actually happened in the program, or what kind of actually input actually required by the program. And for this reason, default case is maybe optional, but it is better to use the default case statement, but it's completely depend upon your program. As per the program needs or as per the program requirement, you use the switch case statement with using the default case or without using the default case statement. Maybe a question arises in your mind, why the value of the switch case statement starting from 1 here? As for this program, the value entered by the user from 1 to 4, then it is written in the word, otherwise shows an error message, or maybe not shown any kind of thing. And for this reason, if the value of case is starting from 1, if suppose the program is stated that you are going to convert the number from 10 to 15 in words, then the value of case 1 becomes 10. So becomes 10, and I have just written here 10 in word. So it is completely depend upon the program from where actually case value actually started. So in this way, switch case statement actually work. And the last one, the conditional operator. Conditional operator already described in my previous video, which link is already given in the description box. You can find the video link and you can visit this video. You can find how the conditional operator we can use and the syntax of the conditional operator.